All right, I just came into the greenhouse where he has all his hydroponic tomatoes growing. Wow, look at those. I'm gonna grab one of those yellow ones. Really sweet. Let's see what one of the darker ones tastes like. I like the yellow one better. So here are the tomatoes. They're still growing. I thought he was going to turn this greenhouse into cucumbers, but look at the nice tomatoes that he has on these plants. They're kind of like in little bunches. It's in bunches, but you notice all the dead? Starting to get cold at night around here. The plants are dying. These plants don't have any fruit on them. Right now they're not concentrating on cleaning this area up because they're working with apples. So they're picking apples right now. But they still have a lot of tomatoes in here. So think about it. He still has to feed these tomato plants. So I would say that he's probably feeding certain lines and not other ones. I guess he's feeding all of them. Still getting tomatoes off of these plants. Some of them have definitely gone by. There's a nice shaped little tomato, isn't it? They're huge. You can't even see down the rows anymore. These plants are so big. So no buds on the plants, no pollinating. They don't have to have bees. They still have fans running though. Need air circulation. Plants like to have air circulation. So right now, this place is dying. But you know what? He got a lot of tomatoes off of these plants. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was just a quick look at what the greenhouse is looking like. Look at the shades. Shades have been pulled across the top. Keep the sun out so it doesn't get too hot in here. All run by computers. All right. I'm heading outside. You want to go with me? Come on, let's go out to the apple orchard. This is the crop that Carl is making his money on right now. Oh, better close the door. I didn't close the door. No, sign says, ooh, employees only. Uh-oh, I went in there. I'm not an employee. It should say good friends too, though, because I'm a good friend. So these are called dwarf apple trees. These are small apple trees. Looks like we still have some apples on this tree. There's some good looking apples. There we go, some nice looking apples there. They're very small apples. Nice thing about this tree is I can pick anything on this tree just by standing on the ground. All of these trees are called dwarf. There's irrigation systems underneath them. A little tube, because they have to be irrigated. Remember in the springtime we saw Carl spraying these? We also saw the buds. Well, these leaves are all dying now. They've gone through a season. They're going to die. Oh, we got some apples on the ground. And by the way, they cannot use those apples. Any apples that hit the ground, they can't use them. No. They used to be called seconds. In the second we call drops. And the apples that were called drops, you could get them. You could buy them. But now they're afraid that you might be picking up some bacteria off the ground. Now look at these trees. These are loaded with apples. This is Carl's money crop, growing apples. But he's only going to get his money in the fall. Look at those clusters of apples up there. Awesome. Look at that. Look at all these apples. Now I have to get a ladder to get up in that tree. I can't reach those apples. They're just a little bit too tall for me. They're about a foot too tall. Now look at all the apples on the ground. A lot of apples dying on the ground. So they're going to have to pick these pretty soon. Now those apples that fell on the ground, they were small apples. They weren't very healthy apples. So that's all right that they drop on the ground. So after they're done picking, in the wintertime, Carl will come through and he'll prune these trees. He'll get rid of some of the branches that he doesn't want, because Carl knows which branches to leave so that he'll get the best production out of his trees. There's another type of apple, and the branches are actually weighted down to the ground. The branches are touching the ground because they're so heavy with apples. Oh, this is a beautiful apple season. I'm glad to see this for the farmers. So see how tall that tree is? That's way too tall for me to get up into. So that means I've got to have a guy go up there with a ladder. It takes more time. Don't want anybody falling off a ladder. Whereas these little trees right here, they might not have as many apples on them, but I can still reach them without having to worry about getting up in a ladder. Here's one that has some nice apples on it. And I can reach all of those. And each one of these rows is a different variety. It's called Pick Your Own. You'll have people come out here and pick apples on their own. They can pick any ones that they want. Oh, we got a problem here, folks. Look at that hole in the ground. It's called a woodchuck. Woodchuck will eat my beans and my peas. Woodchuck will eat a lot of those things in my garden. And unfortunately, I don't want woodchucks. And there's another hole over here. Many times woodchucks will have two holes. One to go in on one end and one to come out on the other end, right there. And so we have to get rid of those. There's ways of doing it, but I'm not going to discuss it now. More beautiful apples. So ladies and gentlemen, I am going to say goodbye. We've got a few more minutes left. Oh, look at this thing here. Part of what they do, what they used to do, they don't do it like they did before because of COVID. Oh, wait a minute, we got a dead tree here. Look at that. He's going to have to put in some new trees. He's got a couple dead trees. They used to have wagon rides. So they'd hook this wagon up to a tractor and take people for rides. They would take people for rides. Oh, there goes Carl. Sorry, I had to whistle. But they're not doing that now because of COVID. They don't want people being close to each other. Yeah, that's too bad. Okay, I got to go see Carl. Welcome to the apple orchards. Goodbye.